Rock-a-doodle-doo, it's the Magic Morning Wood. And I just noticed we allowed ourselves to ramble on there in our pre-show chat. So we're going to have to get this done in an hour. But I think we can do it.
Oh, you
Um,
got to run, do you?
yeah, I got to go pick up the missus.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
No. It was a lovely chat. So who are you? Who are you now? I know who you are, but for the
Oh,
benefit of the
welcome
listeners,
to Magic Morning Wood.
yeah,
I'm Ron, and with me, as
I am
always,
Clive.
is
Hello, hello.
Clive D. Yo, yo, yo. I always, whenever see it says Clive D, I always think of like Mike D from the BC was like, yo, I'm Clive D. Oh, and I'm Ad Ron.
Yeah,
That was a little
it's
Beastie
funny.
Boys one.
Your hip hop skills run out very quickly.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I am the worst.
It's
Yeah,
basically doing that,
my
saying yo yo
yeah,
yo,
I do
and
this.
then
I say, I'm Ron and I'm here to say, and then I don't have anything to say. So that's what I said. So
right, right. Yeah, there's a reason we're not in a hip hop duo together,
yes, yeah,
and
specifically
that's
me. Yeah. So
yeah.
and that's
um.
because I have no hip hop skills. So yeah.
Well, to be honest, I
Uh,
don't think I have either, really. I don't. I've never
yeah,
put them to the
yeah.
test, but I'm
Oh,
sure if we
right.
really wanted to, we could
Yeah,
probably.
if I tried, I could, but I'm not
Yeah,
good at freestyling anyway.
we could spit
I'm no
rhymes.
Eminem. Let's just say that.
Well, that's a good start.
I'm
Uh,
I'm R&R. Just
but anyway, apart from hilarious comedy such as that, we also talk about films, don't we, Ron?
Oh,
Yeah,
films. Yes.
yeah. And what's funny about
Yes.
that? You
Oh, and it reminds me of my grandmother. My grandmother was from Scotland. She used to say films, and so yeah, we used to call them films.
oh, did I
So
put
but here
an extra vowel in there? Did I?
little bit, yeah. So,
Oh,
but
okay.
no, it actually kind of reminds back to our pre-show chat. We were talking about. I was watching Father Ted, and I
Oh, they put a
usually
lot
watch
of
it with
emphasis on the
yeah,
extra vowel. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And I usually watch it with like subtitles just in case sometimes I'm missing some of the
right.
pronunciation. And there was this last episode I just watched. They were talking about a film, and they
Mm.
actually in the subtitles it was spelled Filum.
Oh, really?
So I'm not sure if that was like a joke from the person making the subtitle or if it actually was just a mistake.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But yeah.
Maybe they're auto ones.
Could be, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I don't find too many other mistakes. So so
Okay.
that
That
was an interesting one. So,
could be a joke. I
yeah.
was watching. It's funny they slipped them in. I was watching this old El Santo Mexican wrestling film a while ago, which had been fan subtitled because there's no official
Mm.
subtitles, I don't think. And there's this quite annoying little boy character in it who sings. And then there was proper subtitles for the whole films. And then as soon as it got up on stage and started singing, the lyrics were like, "I'm an annoying little fuck who's you hate throughout this entire film," and just a little joke that the subtitles threw in there, which is quite
It's very
funny.
good. Yeah, yeah. That's it. Good on that person for making that joke.
Yeah. But anyway, we talk about
Yeah.
films, and we
Anyway,
have the
right.
algorithm machine on. So the way it works is we respond. The the two of us respond to the film at the tail end of the last show. We both respond to it,
Right.
and then
Sure.
and so it continues, and we just flip
Yes.
the first. Well, anyway, it works out.
Yep.
So last time was
Makes sense when
my
you actually, yeah, don't just trust us.
choice, and I
Mm.
chose the film Ivan Vasilevich, was that his name? Something like that. Back
Evangelion.
to the Future.
So, yeah.
So I'm responding
Something.
to that, and then you'll be responding
Right.
it when yeah. So my
Right.
response. So I went via. So that film was based on a play by Mikhail Bulgakov.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to go. So Mikhail Bulgakov is most famous, I suppose, as a novelist, and his most famous novel is the novel The Master and Margarita. I don't know if you've ever read it, Ron.
No.
So that was my because there's a adaptation from the early 1970s, 1972,
Mm-hmm.
and I chose that. There has been
Right.
a more recent Russian adaptation from
It looks like
2023.
it looks like there's been several adaptations of
They
this.
have,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah.
yes, but I think a lot of them are maybe not so readily available. But the two big
Mm.
movie ones I know of are the 72 and the 2023, the recent one, which I haven't seen yet.
But this, of course, was not a British, not a Russian film, not a Russian, even though it's a Russian novel, it was not a Russian film,
No,
right?
and the setting for the film is
Serbian?
Moscow. Sorry?
Yeah. It's a Serbian?
Yes.
Right?
Oh, I suppose in those days,
Serbian.
Yugoslavian, right?
Okay.
So it's
right, yeah.
It's an Italian, it's primarily an Italian film.
Right.
Shot
Italian, Yugoslavian.
Yeah, shot in Belgrade, standing in for Moscow, which is the setting of the book.
Right.
So this is going to be a difficult one to kind of do the plot for, really, because so number one, I've read the book, and the book is quite a bewildering experience. Like, it's one of those books that I wouldn't say it's a page turner, at least not in the translation that I read. But just as you began to kind of not tire of it, because it's not badly written or anything like that, but it's kind of dense and it's very easy to lose track of what's happening. And then suddenly something really cool will happen. And you're like, oh, and then you're kind of back on board with it. So it kind of tricked me into reading the whole novel. And it's quite a long novel.
Sounds like the film.
Okay. Well, we'll get to that. Yeah. So, so I'm not quite sure by the time I finished the novel if I totally absorbed it all and understood what the narrative was. And also, I kept reading about the book and people saying like, "Oh, it's clearly it's an attack on Stalinism and stuff like this." And I'm like, maybe, but if someone didn't point that out to me, I don't.
I love those things that are like obviously like kind of have deep meaning and can be construed in many different ways. And everyone's like, well, it's obviously this, and then someone else goes, well, it's obviously this, right? And then they're all like, well, so obviously it's not either of those things, right?
Yeah. So one of the reasons I picked the film, I thought, well, maybe I'll understand what was going on. And that didn't quite work out as planned, because the film is also kind of very difficult to. Okay, I'll give it a go. So
good luck.
Basically, and we should say as well that even without having totally absorbed the book properly, and even I kind of picked up on the fact that it does deviate from the book somewhat, which I think is kind of necessary because it is, the classic unfilmable novel, right? And usually good adaptations. A good example is when Cronenberg made Naked Lunch, right, from William S. Burroughs. Like, that's a great film, but it's not exactly Naked Lunch, right? It takes in all sorts of other things and parts of Burroughs's life, and it's very much its own kind of thing, right? And the film version is very much more. I mean, the romance and stuff is in the book, but it's a bit more put front and center in the film version. But yeah, so anyway, this stars Ugo Tognazzi as this playwright, basically, and he's written a play about Pontius Pilate. And then suddenly during rehearsals, this character of Volland, as played by Alan Cuny, who's a French actor, I think, who worked a lot in it. So obviously Ugo Tognazzi is Italian. Alan Cuny is a Frenchman who worked a lot in the Italian film industry. And then you got American Mimsy Farmer as the main female lead, who was very popular in Italy and made lots of films in Italy. And I think the rest of the cast, I think, are Serbian. I think they're locals. And one thing I like about the film, it's directed by Alexander Petrovich, is they've gone out of their way to choose really interesting faces, right? It's almost like a Fellini film or something. Right? There's a lot of interesting faces on screen, right? So anyway, this Volland, who I guess is spoilers as well, by the way, if it's such a thing that you can spoil, is kind of like is basically Satan, right? I suppose I get the idea that he's kind of Satan in disguise.
Yes.
And he kind of by some kind of psychic intervention, the people doing the play in rehearsal start spouting new dialogue that Ugo Tognazzi hasn't written. This gets him into trouble with the censors, I guess. So there's this kind
Wait,
of early
they're
on.
saying stuff that he didn't write? Because
That
I thought
happens
the point was
briefly,
that
yeah.
really, because I thought he was like, no, because that's the way. No, he's like, that's my script and that's the way it should be. Yeah, that was the opposite of that. They were saying stuff, but the censors just didn't like it, and he refused to change it because that's what he wanted. He said, that's what I wrote, and that's what they were going to say. I
Well,
don't
there's
think
a
it was
scene where
anything
they
he didn't
start
write. I
saying
didn't get that.
things after what Volland kind of it's intimated that he has some kind of, and he makes it, and they start saying things come out of their mouth, and then they react, the people watching react to it like shocked. But I get the
Yeah.
feeling that I might be wrong about that, but and also Volland might also be influencing the playwright, right? That's the thing as
Mm.
well. So
Yeah,
so
possible. Yeah.
we're already don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, so these bureaucrats, they try and shut the play down. Meanwhile, there's this incident on a tram where someone loses their head, which is straight from the beginning of the other thing with the novel jumps around in time and stuff, and the timeline of the film seems to be a little bit more straightened out, right?
Mm.
And then, of course, so there's the character of Mimsy Farmer, who I think Volland has sent to seduce the Ugo Tognazzi character, but she kind of falls for him, right? And that's part of the narrative. And he's fighting against Playboy. And there's a cat. There's a black cat who in the book does lots more things. And I knew they can't do this in the film because cats don't take direction and they don't do that and they don't use a knife and fork. And so I kind of knew they would, unless you animated it, then you're going to have to deviate somewhat. The cat's a bigger character, and it's someone else in disguise anyway. It's one of his henchmen who transforms. I'm not like, this is a very confusing. It's not just me, right? This is a confusing film, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And I read the book as well, and I'm even more confused, maybe.
And then
Yes, and
and then you've also got the two henchmen too, right?
yes, and yeah. So a lot of stuff. That's the thing. A lot of stuff happens. A lot of stuff happens. It's quite fast paced in a way. It's always changing, right? There's always something going on. It's very stylish. It ends in this. Eventually, the play gets put on, and it turns into kind of a strange fashion show, and everyone loses their clothes, and there's like lots of last minute male and female nudity, both pickle and beaver, right? Which kind of comes out of nowhere. I don't think that was in the book, but again, I may have glazed over and missed that. However, it's also got a score by Ennio Morricone, and we are talking about the Italian version. Apparently, the Serbian cut is a little bit different, but having said all that, as bewildering as it is, I found myself actually really, really enjoying this film. At a certain point, I think a switch just went off, and I was like, "Fuck it, just go with it." And I was just enjoying it, just as a series of fascinating images. And sometimes there's these slow, and sometimes it's a bit creepy every now and again. Like some scenes seem like they might be in a horror film or something. And just as a piece of bizarre cinema with good production values and all that, like it's like it's a proper film filled with imagery that I hadn't quite seen in anything else, that made me feel peculiar. And if I did pick up any message from the film, it was entirely subconscious because I couldn't tell you if there was
Yeah,
a
right.
message in this film. But oddly enough, I actually really, really, really enjoyed this. And I think I'm going to take another run at it one day. I can imagine it's a film I may revisit every few years to see if I kind of get more out of it each time. But yeah, big thumbs up for me for the Master and Margarita, I have to say. Even though at first I was on slightly shaky ground, it really won me over. And apparently Alexander Petrovich is quite a renowned Serbian director. I've never seen any of his other films, so I may have to check out something else. How did you get on with the Master and Margarita, Ron?
Yeah, I guess I I came down the other side, which was that yeah, I I'm surprised that you said that there was like so many things happening. I found it really quite dull. I was
Oh,
very
okay.
yeah,
I
yeah,
was wondering
really
how
yeah,
Ron would
yeah,
be getting on with this, I have to
yeah,
admit,
yeah,
because I wasn't quite sure it
yeah.
could go either way, really. Um,
Nah, yeah, it was. I thought it was. Yeah, it was quite boring. I thought it was. Even though you said that there's lots of things happening, I just thought it was really kind of. Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't so much that I was confused. I mean, I think I was less confused, or
okay.
maybe I was like maybe not paying as close attention, maybe. So, but
Well,
I don't know. I just
was there
it wasn't that
anything
I was
of
confused.
my
I was just kind of bored.
was there
Mhm.
anything before you carry on? Was there anything, seeing as you seem to have understood it a bit more, was there anything in my plot synopsis that you'd fix or that you wanted to add to or
No,
anything
it
I
was
missed
good.
out?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. It's just sort of yeah. It was you know. Yeah, the guy wants to put on a play and he keeps getting censored, which probably, I mean, I'm not saying obviously, but probably was uh sort of the a plea or a message to Stalin saying, "Hey, just let me create." I assume Stalin was kind of bringing the iron fist down on
Right,
people and on
right.
artists and not letting them do what they wanted to do and kind of right. So I assume that was kind of like a message for like, hey, just let me do what I want to do, kind of thing, right?
Back
And
off,
so
Stalin,
I
man.
back off Stalin and let me do my thing,
Yes.
dude, bruh,
Probably not a good
right?
idea to stand up to Stalin, but
Sure, yeah.
yeah.
But I assume it was probably um hidden hidden of a message enough that it wasn't like blatantly that Stalin, yeah.
Yes, yes.
So
Well, I think
yeah, I
that's
would
one
say
of the
that. Mm,
reasons, right, that a
mm,
lot of um literature from the Soviet bloc from a certain era,
mm,
like you said, people say, well, obviously, but it's not obvious because by necessity, it couldn't be obvious
yeah,
because you'd end up in
yeah.
the
It was
fucking meat grinder, right?
obviously
Yeah,
exactly yeah. So it was purposely opaque, but I think it's probably you can kind of make a fairly sure bet that it was about
yes, yes.
his relationship with Stalinism,
I
right? Or
the
yeah,
only
so
earlier on when I was saying, well,
or
oh,
at least
I know
or
about
at
the
least
Stalinists.
motivated by.
Yeah, when I was saying that, it wasn't
Mm,
so much that I was obviously to a certain. There's obviously the
mm,
anti-censorship and anti
mm,
kind of oppression, and but what I mean is, I get the feeling that if you really know your stuff in the source novel, I think there's like
mm,
specific references that flew
mm.
right over my head, right?
Right, right, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, sure, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then there's another guy, and he's obviously he comes and shows up, and he's kind of sinister, and he's probably the devil, and
I like
he's
him. I like
fighting the
Alan Kudny. He's a
censors.
good sinister faced guy, isn't
Yeah,
he?
and then he's got these two kind of like sinistery, but also kind of comic kind of henchmen, and they kind of come in and they're kind of like roughing people up and stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I mean, I'm sure I missed probably more of the deeper stuff that was more layered in there, which I'm sure there was quite a bit of it. But
Hmm.
I think in general, I just found it kind of like, so what? Yeah, I mean, it was I
Okay.
didn't really find much to it wasn't just wasn't really my cup of tea. I mean, I don't think it was a bad film. Just yeah, it wasn't maybe it wasn't where I was that day
Right.
because yeah, yeah.
I only
So
just realized that Alan Kudny has a very rude name in Japanese, right?
Alan Country,
No, Alan Kudny, but isn't Kudny basically, isn't that the phrase for going down on a woman?
Adam Kudi, Adam
No,
Kuni.
not
I thought
Alan
Kuni.
Kudny, just the Kudny
Oh,
bit.
okay.
Like
Is
if
it
you're
isn't
clam
I
lapping
thought Kuni meant
basically.
country.
Huh?
Kuni means country, doesn't it?
It does as
Don't
well,
know
yeah,
Kuni
but
is which country?
yes.
Yeah. So
But of
oh,
course, as you
is it
know,
a? I've
Ron,
never heard that
my
slang.
mind's in
So
the gutter, so I went straight to
oh,
the
okay.
yeah. It's both,
I
you're quite
didn't know
right.
that.
Country
Oh,
and
okay. I've
yeah.
never heard.
I'd never put those two
I've.
together, weirdly enough. But yeah, both is true.
Yeah, you've watched more Japanese pink films than I have, so you're probably more familiar with those
Maybe. I
slang
think
than I
it's
am.
short
So
for
yeah.
cunnilingus, I think is why it's
Ah,
yeah,
okay, okay, right.
yeah.
That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It was I thought the acting was kind of stiff, to be honest. I didn't really
Okay.
connect with it, but I mean, that's just me. I mean, I'm not saying it was a bad film. It just it didn't connect with me. It wasn't really my cup of tea, or at least not how I was feeling that day. Maybe I was in a
Okay.
bad mood, but usually I like things with kind of like demonic characters and that, but I just thought it was kind of relatively uninspired, and I found myself a little bit confused why it was such a celebrated piece of work. But again, it's quite probably obviously quite different from the book. So, and also coming from, I'm sure there's something to be said with people living in the, under the Iron Curtain. Do you say in or under or behind?
Behind, I
What's
would
the
say.
behind the curtain, behind the Iron Curtain, and then when they get a piece of literature or a film or something that maybe they feel like is sticking it to the man, but doing it in a ooh kind of way, that maybe
In
it
what kind of
becomes
way?
really, 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 and like a ooh, like, yeah, ooh, right kind of way. So they maybe it becomes really important to them, and it becomes important in terms of that kind of historical. But yeah, for me, it wasn't. Yeah, didn't have much for me to
Okay, fair enough.
grab onto at this time. Yeah,
I
so.
I was wondering if Mimsy Farmer might be your type.
So it was okay. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Very, very popular in Italy through the 70s and 80s. I mean, more than she ever was in the States, I think.
Right. Yeah, I didn't really know her that much,
Okay.
so.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think that's about it, really. I guess you're not planning on watching the recent Russian version then.
Probably not.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll let
But
you
if you
know.
if you watch it,
Yes.
and it's like, wow, this is amazing, maybe I'll give it a shot. Who knows?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, an updated version maybe might connect with me more. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, you
So
never know.
yeah,
Certainly, I
yeah.
if I do get around to watching it soon, if I remember, I'll put a little update in the show anyway.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Okay. What did you choose, and what was your connection there on?
Well, my connection was time travel.
Hmm.
And so because that was kind of basically Back to the Future for Russians, the original one, right?
Right.
So I don't know, just there's lots and lots and lots and lots
Yeah, I
and
was wondering. It
lots
was
of
like I was
time travel
wondering
movies.
why this one. If there was any
Yeah, I don't
specific
know.
reason.
I just did a search for time travel movies, and I know that this one was kind of on my radar for a while. That I'd heard some stuff about it, and
You hadn't seen it
you know,
before
it,
then.
hadn't seen it, and I know that like you and I have recently really enjoyed Succession, and Sarah
Mhm.
Snook has kind of come on my sort of radar as an actress as well, and I'm a longtime fan of Ethan Hawke, so I was like, it was something that was like one of those kind of late late teens kind of movies that I never really got around to, but I've heard good things about. So
Okay.
I thought, well, it might as well. It's about time travel. Might as well give it a shot. So,
Yeah, I'd never seen it
um,
before either. I can vaguely
okay.
remember it coming out. Don't really remember anything, hearing anything one way or the
Mm,
other about it.
mm.
So I was quite
Yeah,
happy
it
to
was
give it a shot.
it, it kind of fell on that kind of there's like a category of films that all came out around the same time, and they all kind of have almost kind of similar titles, and I've like not the same title, but like it was like that one and like Interstellar and like other like I don't know, they're
I kind
all
of
over
know
they
what
all
you
have these
mean.
kind of like
Yes.
multi-syllabic one-syllable words, which are all kind of
Right.
vaguely science fiction-y.
Yes.
Tom Cruise had one too, whatever it was called, and like and they're all kind of vaguely kind. They're all kind of I end up mixing them all together
Yeah.
because they're all kind of
And Predestination as
action,
well
science
could
fiction-y.
be, unless
Yeah,
you see the poster, it could be a, I don't know,
yeah.
coming of age drama or something, with
Sure,
yeah.
yeah, it could be anything, right? So yeah, you don't even know what it means, right? So all right, let's give it a shot. Why not?
This is from
It's there,
2014, right? This is
give or take ish. Yeah. So
yeah.
okay, right. So yeah.
And it's an
So yeah, as I said, sorry.
Australian US co-production, right?
Okay, right.
Because
Yes.
the
Yeah.
two
So
directors
yeah,
are Aussies, right? Michael and Peter
right. Yeah,
Spearing.
and Sarah Snook is Aussie too, right? So
Yes, yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah.
And Ethan Hawke had been in, so I remember them coming to prominence with a zombie movie called Undead, which I
Uh,
remember everyone going, and then I watched it, but then they made
yeah.
that movie, Daybreakers, with Ethan Hawke. Did you ever
Uh,
see that? And
yeah, yeah.
Willem
That was
Dafoe
the
was
the
in it.
day that was that the vampires in
Yes,
Alaska.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
That where
basically a
there's
rip-off
no
of I Am Legend, right?
right, right. Yeah,
Yes, yes. But I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
that being a bit better than that was kind of fun, but mostly I think because Willem Dafoe was quite kind of fun in that, and Sam Elliott's in it as well, if
Right.
I remember correctly.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah. And then
yeah.
after that, the only other thing I remember they did, they made like a was it a haunted house film or something with Helen Mirren called Winchester or something like that? I never saw it, but
Oh, was that Winter? Was that
I
is
just
that
remember
the
Helen Mirren
oh,
being
oh, that
in.
was inspired. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know that one. Yeah.
That's the
Also had
extent.
Sarah Snook in it,
Yeah,
that one.
that seems to be the last thing they've
Also,
done. I don't think they've done anything for a
oh,
while
okay.
now.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so okay. Yeah, I actually don't know much about these guys, but yeah. So directed by their, I guess they're brothers,
Yeah,
Michael and Peter Spierig. Is that how you pronounce it? Spierig,
I don't know.
maybe.
That's what I'm going with.
Uh, yeah, yeah, and also written by them, but also based on a short story, "All You Zombies"
Yes,
by Robert Heinlein, Robert A.
yes,
Heinlein, right?
a very
Um,
heavily anthology. You've probably read it, I'm guessing, All You Zombies, because it's one of those.
no, I haven't.
Okay, it's like
Yeah,
in
I'd
a
like to read it.
zillion science fiction compilation, like anthology. Like it's one of those. There's certain SF stories that just get anthologized again and
Mm-hmm.
again and again in best ofs,
Mm-hmm.
and that's
Oh,
one of
okay.
them. Yeah, uh,
Oh, All You Zombies, right? Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm not
Actually, I've
quite.
never read it, so yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why, because I've read some Heinlein, and I like quite oddly enough, the Heinlein I've liked the best is like his young adult stuff is actually kind of quite interesting. He's got a
Oh,
few
right.
books which have like as the protagonist like a smart young kid who just ventures forth on
Mm,
adventures, and then Starship Troopers is kind of like the that starts to get ever so slightly
mm,
self-parodic, like not deliberately so, in its kind of pull yourself up by the bootstraps kind of
right.
almost fascistic militarism stuff, which is what Harry
Mm,
Harrison was parodying when he wrote Bill the Galactic Hero as kind of like a riposte to that novel, right? But of course,
mm.
the novel ma makes for one of the very best science fiction action films, Starship Troopers, right? Which is probably still
Ah,
the
right.
high bar of Heinlein advocacy. I fucking love Starship
Sure.
Troopers to bits.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I haven't
yeah.
watched that in years. I should go back and watch that again. So,
Well, you could,
um,
if you chose it as your response, I certainly wouldn't argue with you because I could watch that anytime.
okay.
Fucking love Starship
Yeah,
Troopers.
I might watch that again. I haven't seen it in years, so yeah, maybe I'll watch that again. Um, yeah. So anyway, this is at first it seems it kind of you don't really know that it's a time travel kind of thing. It's just sort of like a Um, this guy goes into a bar and starts kind of talking to his to the bartender, and the bartender's kind of like chatting him up, and trying to find out he's got some problems, and he wants to talk to the barkeeper, and the barkeeper kind of convinces him to tell him what's going on. And then you find out relatively quickly that that the guy used to be a girl, that it's a trans man,
Although
right?
it's
Right. And
fairly
so yes,
obvious from the
yeah,
get-go.
pretty
Yeah.
obvious. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, you think so. But anyway, they put it forward as if it's supposed to be a little bit of a reveal at the time, right? But it's at least
Right.
they don't leave it to like an ending. Oh yeah, and spoilers as well for this movie as
Oh
well.
yeah,
Plenty of
yeah,
spoilers
yeah,
for this
yeah,
one. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
Don't if you
um
plan on watching this film, watch it and then come back. Don't
yeah, yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
yeah, we
yeah.
will spoil
It's
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Don't wait, rely on us to watch this movie. Um so yeah, anyway, so it turns out that the bartender Ethan Hawke is actually some kind of like a I don't know, like a time travel policeman or something. I don't know what you would put kind of
Yeah,
what
he's like
his job is. He's like a
some kind of agent, isn't he? Yeah,
agent, yeah, agent
yeah,
for some kind of like you know um time travel agency, right? And so and
yes.
he has to kind of make sure that events are happening the way they're supposed to happen or
Yeah,
something like that or whatever.
writing
And so
writing time crimes, I suppose.
right,
Yeah,
so kind of
yeah.
like or yeah, rewriting or
No,
yeah,
I
writing
realized what
R I
I
G H
meant
T, right? Writing.
writing as in making right, not writing.
Yeah, yeah, R I
Yeah,
G H T, not R W R I
yeah.
T, right?
But then I started to correct myself as well. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So you
I'm
should have
going to
gone
go
back in
back in
time
time
and
and
righted it
fix that, Ron.
and
Don't
rewrite
worry.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you just yeah. I think there must be a delay because I'm just making the joke and
No, it's the time paradox at work. Right?
we're
This is
going
what.
back in time, right? So
Yeah.
okay, okay. So yeah. So anyway, so then I don't know how this is gonna be a bit tough one to kind of explain too, but anyway, so she or he, she, he. I guess I'll use he because He goes back in his past when he starts as a young girl, and was sort of different, which was kind of the putting the idea that that he knew that, or she knew she was a man the whole time, and but later on in school, she met a guy who you don't see, who's kind of this mystery guy, and then he ends up kind of like making her fall in love with him, and then impregnating her, and then he kind of disappears, and so he now still holds lots of anger towards that guy, and yeah, and so
Well, you're
he had a
skipping over the
baby, of
bit.
course, right? Yeah,
Due
I
to
don't
the
know.
pregnancy, it's discovered that she's kind of beyond a hermaphrodite. Somehow she has the
Mm.
entire she has an entire structure of a man and a woman
Uh,
inside her, right? But the pregnancy
well,
is
that I don't think that's revealed that early, is it? I mean, it's like she's training to become like an agent at this time travel agency,
right.
but they reject her, but you're not really sure why. They say, like, the guy looks at and he's like, oh, okay, never mind, and then they let her go, even though she's kind of like the
Okay. I just
top of the
remember the
class, and you don't
doctor
really find that out
explains it
yet.
to her, doesn't she? After the baby's born, he explains about.
But yeah, after the baby's, but that's later after the baby's
Oh,
born,
okay,
right?
okay.
So yeah, yeah. So anyway, so she's like really like good, very smart, and very top of the class, very like able, capable, becomes trained to become the secret agent, and then anyway, gets kicked out because of something you don't know why, and falls in love with this guy. He impregnates her, he disappears, and then when
She
she has the
originally
baby, it
thinks she's
turns out
training to
that
be an astronaut, doesn't she? Is the
yes,
yes,
an astronaut.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then she has the baby, and the doctor explains that actually, yeah, she has like a full set of male and female internal organs, like reproductive organs inside, right? So, um, and so she has the baby, but the baby is stolen,
Mm.
and from the basically from the hospital after it's born, and and then over time she decides that she wants to become a man, and then makes the change to become a man, right? So that's all that kind of stuff. And then so she goes back in time. The bartender Ethan Hawke takes her back in time to kind of
Yeah.
revisit her whole story, and then we find out basically that, well, I guess the long story short, I guess, is that she is the mother, the father, and the baby in the
Yes.
story.
Yes.
She's her
And
own mother, her own father, and
yes.
her own baby.
And Noah Taylor creeps about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
yeah. Yes, and he's doing something. Yeah, no, he's the other agent, or I forget
Yeah.
what he was.
He's kind
He's
of
yeah,
involved in yeah, they seem to be smoothing
yeah.
out things, untangling little knots in time and things
Right.
like
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And
Um,
he's kind of like the boss or whatever. So
yeah.
yeah.
So the original short story, All You Zombies, is a
Mm,
very short story. And
mm,
like I said, it's okay, but it's not one of my favorite Robin Highlines, but it's fine. But I've always slightly not. Obviously, some people really love it because, like I said, it's much
mm,
anthologized. Some people obviously
mm.
really get something out of it.
Right.
But the
Is
film,
any of this stuff in it?
huh?
Any of this like mother, father,
It's
baby,
all
you
in
are
there.
your
It's
own
all
family?
in there.
Oh, that is there. Okay,
Yeah.
it is. Okay.
Well, that's my thing. So, but it's compressed into like this. I don't think it's even 10. It might be 10, 15 pages, something like. It's very short.
Oh, okay. Right.
But
Mm.
then, of course, they have to stretch it out
Stretch it out.
to
Right.
feature
Yeah, yeah.
length, right? And I think for me, at least, that's part of the problem. Is it just it? I felt it really stretching it out, like kind of beyond. So when kind of certain twist reveals come or whatever, I I'm not invested anymore, so they don't land.
Uh,
Do you know what I mean?
right.
I don't
Yeah.
know how you've got on with it, but
I thought it was okay. It kept my attention the whole time. Um, I yeah, I'm trying to remember think if any of it was like a shock to me. It was if it was surprising. I guess I kind of guessed that he was the guy who impregnated her in because the specifically don't show his face, right? Or something,
hmm,
right? So at the beginning. So I kind of guessed that, but I didn't guess that she was her own baby. So that was kind of a new one, I guess. Whatever.
right.
But and I hadn't read the story. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was it got a little, yeah, I can see where they padded it a little bit, and and Ethan Hawke was kind of like,
Yeah,
and then he had a whole bit too where he was the one that had to kill her, or he was the one that was set up to shoot her and then burn her face, and that was why she
yeah.
had the plastic surgery become the
This is
that. Oh no, sorry, that was the one. Oh, sorry, I missed the whole step, which is that he was also her. That
yes,
Ethan Hawke
yes,
is also her, right? So I
yes,
forgot that part, step, which is that. So at the end, so she turns out to be this sort of like kind of time criminal, and then Ethan
yeah.
Hawke has to go stop
It's like a
her,
weird
stop, but he
trauma
doesn't know who she.
turning back on
Yeah, yeah,
itself,
yeah.
right? And yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And so
and
then
he's
he has to
basically the
shoot
engineer of
her.
it. Yeah, he triggers
Yeah,
it
yeah,
from the
yeah.
beginning, right? But
He trigger. Yeah. So he doesn't realize, but he's trying to catch the criminal who he doesn't know who it is. And it turns out it's him. And
yeah,
then he shoots her and then burns her face, or burns his face at the time, and then has plastic surgery. And then it turns out that it's actually him. So he was also them as well. So is that part of the story as well?
yeah. It's all in the story. It's
Even the Ethan
surprisingly
Hawke character being
faithful.
him.
It's very
Oh, okay.
faithful.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
Um,
So yeah. So anyway, so that was also, yeah.
they
So it
might,
was. So I mean,
yeah.
yeah. I
There
don't know. It
might be a
was.
little bit less of her training to be an age. That stuff, the astronaut
Mm,
stuff, might be that's where a lot of the padding comes in. But
okay.
no, basically, it's a fairly faithful adaptation of the through line, as it were.
Okay. Mm,
I was trying to break this down because like why I wasn't getting on with it, and so let's start with Ethan Hawke. I also like Ethan Hawke in
mm,
general, but he also, I think this is Ethan Hawke at his worst in a way. Not that he's giving a bad performance, but Ethan Hawke has this tendency to go towards this kind of super earnestness, doesn't he? Like
yeah, yeah.
he's very, he goes out of his way to be likable and kind of,
Uh,
and I think he's usually at his best when he's a bit let he's doing that a lot less. Um,
mm,
did you ever see him play Chet Baker in the film Born to be Blue, the jazz musician Chet
no.
Baker? He's really good in that, and that's a good film.
Oh, okay.
But it's
Mm,
it's not this. In this he's very he's the high eyebrows, hey sit down kind of guy, right?
mm,
Um, which is an Ethan Hawke. Yeah, it's just I don't know. It seems like default Ethan Hawke. Do you know what I
mm.
mean? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I get what you mean. As the bartender, he's a little bit too kind of like, "Hey, how's it going?" More rather than being like a "Hey,
Yeah,
what's up?"
it seems
Kind
to
of,
be
right.
his
So
natural
yeah.
response. Like if someone hasn't directed him or told him what to do or something, he's
Mm,
just. And I'm sure in real life that means that he's a very
mm.
lovely guy. But I haven't heard
Sure. Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
bad about he's not. But
Yeah.
sometimes that I find that on screen, I find that a bit boring. Sarah
Uh,
Snook's really good, I would say. Uh,
yes.
and I
Mm.
think I guess even though
She
we
does her best to really to like. I mean, she's got to play like lots
yeah.
of different stuff there. So I thought she does quite well with
Yeah,
it.
I
So
think this is the
yeah,
film that
she
kind
does
of
her
put her
best.
on the map as well, right? I think I'm getting the feeling
Hmm.
um back in the day. You also seem not to love it, so I'm wondering what is it about it for you that stops it from kind of working really well, do you think?
I enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was I yeah, I'm a little kind of uncertain on this movie. Like, I didn't not enjoy it. There was nothing about it that I didn't like. Um, but it didn't like have this sort of like a oh that it should have. Do you know what I mean? Like it should have
Right.
been like a gut punch by the end. You're like, oh,
Yes.
so, and I'm
Yes.
not sure why it didn't. Like it's still like, oh, that's an interesting take. I didn't see that coming. Oh, it's him too. Oh, okay, good. Oh, okay, I get it. It's sort of like a like a memento thing, or like
Hmm.
the usual suspects who are kind of putting the pieces together. Oh, okay,
Right.
yeah, I get it. But it didn't have the sort of like the
The
punch
moment.
that it
Yeah.
needed. And I'm
Yeah.
not, yeah, I'm not like we're like you everything clicks and you're like, holy fuck, right? That kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So, but I don't know why it didn't, but it wasn't bad, but I don't know why it didn't get that
No,
kind of
it's
like that
definitely missing something. I think you
like oof
clearly you enjoyed it more than I did,
something, yeah.
but we can agree on that. I
Yeah.
think that there's something kind
Mm.
of yeah, it is. It's lacking. something. This is more of a personal thing as well. I just thought I'd bring it up. I have a bit of a problem, and this is all me. I have a bit of a problem with time travel stories as well. I think my problem with time travel stories is I can enjoy a time travel film if it kind of doesn't take itself too seriously. I can kind of enjoy it. But the thing with time travel is you can't get away from time travel paradoxes, right? It's
Yeah.
like inherently part of the genre, right? And then I think when something tries to tie itself up, there's always that one thing where you're like, oh, hang on, because there is always this paradox, right? Which is why essentially it seems to be real time travel isn't actually possible. It's different if you're talking about like parallel universes is a different thing, right? So I think that's the thing is and that's a failing of me. I get too invested in trying to figure out the ins and outs, and then at the end of the day realize, well, we can't do it anyway, so what the fuck am I, so I don't like to get involved, it's like I'm a bit reluctant to get involved. And like Tenet was a good example. You saw Tenet, right? Like, so the thing with Tenet was it was an interesting thing because I realized some people were saying, oh, it doesn't make sense, right? And then I realized a lot of those people who said it doesn't make sense, they were right, it doesn't make sense, but not for the right like they were morons, right? And they didn't understand just the basic kind of setup of it, right? Which does make sense. What doesn't make sense is if you take it too seriously like I did and start thinking about the way physics works, and then if you go and so if you remember, there's that scene when he first goes back and he tries driving a car and it goes backwards and it crashes and all that. And then I remember thinking, and I enjoyed Tenet once I settled down and just took it for what it was. I thought it was pretty good. But then I was thinking, well, no, that's just the beginning. Like if everything goes backwards, then the science, like it's not just about driving a car backwards. Like all chemical reactions are going to happen. So at first I thought, yes, these people are right. It doesn't make sense. And then I realized, oh no, they're just morons. They don't even understand just the basic things going backward thing. Like
why it's going backwards.
Yeah, that's not that tricky to get a head around, right? But so I think that's the problem is sometimes I think about these, I overthink them, right? But if you just take the basic premise of Tenet and forget about larger world of physics and stuff, it's actually a pretty good time paradox film. Right.
I think I approach like time travel a little bit differently. Is that I just really enjoy time travel, and every time travel movie seems to have its own set of rules, and it doesn't bother me. I'm just sort of like, okay, well, that's just that. As long as you don't get caught up in the physics, which of course all time travel doesn't work once you start thinking about physics. So I mean, it's I mean, I think I heard somewhere that like time travel literally would be impossible because of the rotation of the Earth. You would go back in time and you would end up just where the Earth happened to be at that time, which means you would end up just in space, right? So,
well, that's another thing as well. Yeah.
So, I mean,
you have to take space into consideration as well.
You take that basically idea and the fact, and that all time travel doesn't work. So, forget about it, right? So just sort of like just accept it for what it is, right?
That's why I think I like time travel movies that at least take the effort to like cut out their own space. Like we said, Tenet works.
Sure.
H.G. Wells' The Time Machine is interesting because allowing for that slight miscalculation. He's like in the Ivan Vasilevich film, he's always traveling in the same space, right? And then once he arrives, he can wander about. But you watch some science fiction things and you're like, why have they gone from Tokyo to San Francisco? It's a time machine. It's not a time and space travel.
A teleporter.
That's a specific thing, And also, that's not a time anyway.
Well, I mean, the Earth shifted, and so they were in Tokyo, and the Earth shifted another
here. So you can go a million different ways with it, and yes, you shouldn't overthink it. But I think.
But in this case, I didn't.
The best films maybe make you not think about that stuff, and I think Predestination is maybe. It's in a way it's so convoluted that by the time it reaches a conclusion, you're like, oh, that's fine. I don't want to think about this anymore. I just kind of accept that. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But if you do follow it is the original source story is a relatively smart. It's just not one of my favorite short stories.
Oh, okay.
So there's that. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and I thought this was kind of interesting, and also we're maybe not so qualified to talk about this, but we can talk around it. So this comes out in 20.
I mean, literally, if we cut out things we're not qualified to talk about, we would talk about nothing. So
this is true. This is true. So, and this is 2014, right? Which is only 11 years ago, but in terms of social changes we've gone through, is
sure,
walk away, right? I was trying to figure out if this film would be not out and out offensive. I don't think it is, and neither is the source story. But I'm wondering if the transitioning elements of this film might not play well nowadays. What do you think about this?
I had that same thought. Yeah, so it's a good question. Yeah, and again, I don't know that we can accurately answer it. I mean, there's always people who get upset about something. Well, based on kind of like the more recent kind of social changes, like gay characters can only be played by gay actors, and trans characters can only be played by trans actors. These are like the new thing.
That aside, I was thinking more thematically.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Thematically, I think it probably would be given a pass because it's time travel and science fiction. But I think Sarah Snook maybe may not be more as acceptable. I think they probably would want someone more like what's the girl from Euphoria, whatever her name is. So yeah. Anyway, like a real trans
someone who has transitioned.
Actress. Has actually transitioned, yeah. So I think that would probably be more the issue than the themes themselves.
Well, what I was thinking, I mean, and this goes back to the source story more, is at its heart, I'm wondering if it's problematic that the kind of hermaphroditic angle of it, and it's kind of treated like another weird or science fiction element, if you see what I mean. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, sure.
And I'm wondering if that would rub some people the wrong way now, that it was almost being like a MacGuffin or something, like an extra thing to throw in there in this so weird fiction.
Right.
I can imagine, but again, yes, I agree. I think that would probably be overly sensitive people who might take that.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely possible, and I'm sure there is somebody somewhere who would get upset about that. But I don't think this would be like like a film that would create an uproar. I don't think I think there would be like a certain subsection, like a small, counterculture community that would be kind of against that. But I think generally speaking, it wouldn't be considered like an anti-trans film.
No, so but speak, right? I would kind of like to take the temperature. A shame in a way. Sometimes I wish we did have more people watching, because then we could actually take a poll. But if anyone of the LGBT community or someone who's transitioned or anything who's seen this film and has kind of a take on it, or even more, not necessarily, well, your personal take would be interesting as well. But also, I would like to know if it has any kind of, because I think they're kind of few and far between. I get the feeling that almost any film that touches on any of these stuff, especially transitioning, is going to be known by that community, right? Like, I would imagine in the larger world, some people know about Predestination, they saw it when it came out, other people have never heard of it, blah, blah, blah. But I'm guessing maybe in the trans community, like, it must be a fairly well-known title, right? Because there's not that many films that deal with it, right?
So trans, right.
I'm guessing there must be a kind of a take on it, right? There must be like a general, is this film considered a triumph, or or good on it, or do people think it's it's tokenism, or it's taking something out of context in a bad way? Or I'm really quite interested to know about that.
Right. Yeah, but yeah, again, as you said, are not qualified to answer that. But my gut says probably it's not. It's just sort of like a yay that it deals with it, but it's not particularly like heralded or
me too.
Degraded
my gut says that it's probably not considered overly problematic. It's just probably considered a bit clumsy, maybe like well-meaning, but a
Possibly.
bit
Yeah,
clumsy.
possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I mean, the fact that it's a faithful. I mean, Robert Heinlein wrote this story in what, the 50s?
When was it published? 59. Yeah, in
59.
the
Yeah,
magazine of
that was my
fantasy
guess.
and science fiction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. So I mean, this is also, I mean, I'd say for the 50s, it was a pretty progressive take on
Yes.
trans
Oh,
people, I
definitely
guess.
for the
So
50s,
I would
because
say so. Yeah.
they don't dwell on it in like, oh, well, it's
Yeah,
horrible, it's
yeah,
gross, or nothing like that.
yeah.
It's very
Mm,
matter of fact. So yeah, no, absolutely for the
sure.
50s.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's to be applauded. Yeah, yeah.
So I would hope that at least the trans community would accept it and take it in that light kind of thing, right? You know, so that it was not that it was actually a pretty progressive story for its time at the time,
Yes.
right?
No,
So
no, that's a good point. Well, worth
mm,
raising. Um,
yeah.
right. Okay, then. I think we're
That's
probably
it.
done, are we?
Yep, I think so.
Yeah.
We got
So
to run.
next
So
time we will
you have
be
to run.
responding to Predestination.
Right.
Right.
We can
So
do
until then,
Final Destination.
could do. That's a way. I do want to see the new
Other
one.
destination movie.
Have you seen the new
I
one?
saw it. It was yeah. We just saw it. We just watched it the other night.
Oh,
So it
did
was
you see
quite
it in the
good.
theater?
No,
Okay.
we watched
Okay.
it at home. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, it was quite good. Yeah, it was good.
I don't know if it's actually been and gone here yet, or if it still might, it might pop up
I
in
don't
like a small
I don't
theater.
think that it ever came out here. So
Yeah, not
yeah.
yet. It probably will get a screening somewhere for like a week or something.
Mm.
So I might try and
Right,
catch
yeah.
it.
Mm.
Anyway, no one's interested in
Anyway,
this. Right,
yeah,
yes.
no one cares.
Until next time.
All right,
Cheerio.
take care.